in the quiet corners of the American home, in the dusty basements and sawdust-covered garages of the mid-20th century, a different kind of magic was being made. Before the glowing screens and digital worlds took over our lives, entertainment was something you could hold in your hands. It was something you built, piece by piece, with patience, with focus, and with pride. It was the distinct, sharp smell of model airplane glue, the crackle of a stranger's voice from a faraway city on a homemade radio, the silent thrill of a chemical reaction bubbling to life in a test tube. These weren't just pastimes. They were projects. They were lessons in skill, patience, and imagination, often shared between a father and a son, or a mother and a daughter in the quiet hours after dinner. Join us as we dust off the old boxes in the attic and rediscover the forgotten hobbies that brought families together. Number 1. The golden age of hands-on. To understand these hobbies, we first have to understand the era. The post-war boom of the 50s and 60s was a time of incredible optimism and a deeply ingrained belief in progress. The space race was on, and science and engineering weren't just school subjects. They were seen as heroic, patriotic pursuits. Fathers, many of them veterans who had learned to work with complex machinery during the war, brought a practical, can-do spirit home with them. The garage or basement workshop became a suburban sanctuary, a place where a man could fix anything, and more importantly, build anything. This was an era that valued tangible skills. There was a deep, quiet satisfaction in creating something real and lasting with your own two hands, a stark contrast to the disposable, mass-produced culture that would come later. These hobbies were a direct reflection of that powerful mindset. Number 2, the art of the model kit. For millions of kids, the gateway to this world of creation was the model kit. You'd save up your allowance, maybe $1 or $2, and head to the local hobby shop, a magical place filled with colorful boxes promising adventure. Brands like Revell, Monogram, and Airfix were legendary. Whether it was a World War II Spitfire, a '57 Chevy Hot Rod, or the sleek Starship Enterprise, the process was a ritual. You'd carefully lay out the plastic parts on a newspaper-covered table, the sharp, distinct smell of polystyrene filling the air. The meticulous work of trimming, sanding, and gluing the tiny parts required a surgeon's steady hand and a monk's patience. The most challenging and rewarding part was always applying the decals' tiny, delicate waterslide transfers that could wrinkle or tear with one wrong move, but would make or break the final product. Hours would melt away in intense concentration at the kitchen table or a basement workbench, and the result wasn't just a toy. It was a trophy, a scale replica you had built yourself, worthy of the most prominent spot on your bedroom shelf for all to see. Number 3, the mad scientist in the basement. In an age before safety warnings covered every surface, one of the most exciting gifts a child could receive was a chemistry set. Brands like A.C. Gilbert and Chemcraft packed hundreds of experiments into a single thrilling box. It contained real glass test tubes, an alcohol lamp for a heat source, and rows of jars filled with real chemicals with mysterious, intriguing names. This wasn't just a toy. It felt like real, and sometimes dangerous science. You could make invisible ink, create surprising, vibrant colors, learn to make glass, and yes, cause small, harmless explosions that would fill the basement with the unmistakable smell of sulfur. It was a hobby that sparked a genuine curiosity for the natural world, a hands-on lesson in cause and effect. For many future scientists, doctors, and engineers, that basement laboratory was their very first step on a lifelong path of discovery. Number 4. Reaching out with ham radio. Long before the internet connected the world in an instant, there was another way to talk to a stranger on the other side of the country, or even the planet. Amateur radio, better known to the world as ham radio. Becoming a licensed ham was a serious undertaking, a true badge of honor. It required studying electronics theory, radio regulations, and for many years, mastering the rhythmic language of Morse code. The equipment itself, with its glowing vacuum tubes, complex dials, and mysterious meters, looked like something out of a science fiction movie. The ham shack was often a corner of the basement, a web of wires connecting the operator to a massive antenna in the backyard. But the real magic happened when you tuned the dial, listening patiently through the static for a faint, distant signal. Making contact, known in the community as a QSO, was a thrilling moment. You'd exchange call signs and locations with someone you'd never met, a voice crackling through the ether from hundreds or thousands of miles away. It was a global community built on a shared passion for technology and communication. A true social network made of nothing but radio waves. Number 5. The empire in the basement. Of all the hands-on hobbies, perhaps none was more ambitious, more detailed, or more all-consuming than model railroading. This wasn't just about a simple train set running in a circle around the Christmas tree. For the true devotee, this was about building an entire world in miniature. It was a multidisciplinary art form that required a vast array of skills. You were a carpenter, building the benchwork. You were an electrician, wiring the tracks, switches, and lights. You were a landscape artist, creating mountains from plaster and forests from lichen. And finally, you were an engineer, running the trains according to complex schedules and timetables. Often a lifelong passion project, meticulously worked on for years and shared between a father and son. The model railroad was a sprawling empire in the basement, a tiny, perfect, and idealized world that was always a work in progress. Today, the garage is often just a place to park the car, and the basement has become a media room, dominated by a single large screen. The patient, deliberate hobbies of the past have been largely replaced by the instant gratification of the digital age. We've gained a universe of information and entertainment at our fingertips, an endless stream of content just a click away. But perhaps we've lost something in the exchange. The quiet satisfaction of a perfectly glued scene, the thrill of a coded message from a faraway land, or the immense pride of watching a world you built yourself slowly come to life. These hobbies didn't just create models and machines. They built skills, they built patience, and most importantly, they built lasting memories between generations, preserved forever in America's past. Did you have any of these hobbies growing up? What did you and your family build together? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip back in time, be sure to like this video and subscribe to RetroStates.